Hey, what is up, you guys? This is Nick, and man, we have just come out of the longest year of March ever. Am I right? So we made it. What a crazy month. We're in April now, and this morning, honestly, I woke up and I was hoping to see from everyone out there like, hey, biggest April Fool's joke ever. Everything is fine. Go back to normal. Not the case. However, one can dream. So being that that's not the case, I wanted to talk about and bring some encouragement of what we can do when we find ourselves between a rock and a hard place. Now, hopefully, you're not between a rock and a hard place right now, but more and more people are finding themselves in that situation. And you've kind of heard of this situation before where no, option seems good and you just kind of feel stuck. So I wanted to talk about what we can do when we just feel stuck and we're just trapped. So it might be, for a lot of people, it's, hey, I worked so hard in my career and I've gotten up so high, and then now my whole company is just on hold. What do I do? Or some other people, it's, hey, I built this business from the ground up and all of a sudden that's on hold. What do I do? Some other people have, they're dealing with health issues and they're like, hey, I was healthy my whole life, but now I got something going on. What do I do? So unfortunately, there's a lot of these situations going on right now, and if it's not you right now, maybe you know of someone who's going through a hard time, or they're finding themselves between a rock and a hard place, and you can share some of this information. So the biggest thing that I want to share right up front from all these examples that I'm about to show you and tell you about is, even when it's darkest, even when you're doubtful, trust God. He's gonna make a way and He's gonna get you through it. It's not exactly like what we would picture all the time exactly. Like if we were to solve the situation, it might be different. But trust God, He will make a way. Let's go to the Bible. So Exodus chapter 14, we're gonna be looking at the Israelites fleeing from Egypt, and they're gonna find themselves between a rock and a hard place. So the Israelites came out of Egypt, Pharaoh let them go, and they found themselves in the desert at the Red Sea. Okay, so they can't go any further, they're running away, and then Pharaoh changes his mind. Pharaoh's the king of Egypt. Changes his mind and he sends thousands of horses, chariots, and his army, his whole army, actually it says, to chase after them. So the Israelites all of a sudden find themselves between a rock and a hard place. And they were doubting God, you guys. So they were saying, hey, Lord, why did you bring us out here to essentially die? And like, we would much rather still be in captivity back in Egypt. What's going on? But then Moses, their leader, kept faith in God and knew that God was going to deliver them at the last minute from this situation. So check it out. That's where I'm going to read from right now. Exodus 14, and it's verse 21, okay? So it says, Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove back the sea with a strong east wind that turned into dry land. So the waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with walls of water on their right and walls of water on their left. So that, my friends, is at the last moment God performing a huge miracle, parting a whole sea so that the Israelites could go through. Now, what's the takeaway from this? Sometimes at the last minute, when we don't know what's going on, it's like the last hour and we don't see a way out, impending doom is coming, whether that be bills or health or whatever you're worried about is coming, 1,000 people, thousands of army people strong to head you off, and God made a way. So there's a great example for us that if we just keep faith to the very end, it might be a little scary, but if we keep faith to the very end, God will make a way. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into a furnace because they wouldn't bow down and worship King Nebuchadnezzar. They were between a rock and a hard place, and they were literally thrown into fire, you guys. And at that point, they were probably like, well, this is it, this is the end, but God delivered them from that. Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den to fight a lion, and he probably found himself between a rock and a hard place, or a rock and a lion. So at the last moment, God came in, sealed the lion's mouth shut, and Daniel was okay. You guys see a pattern here. A lot of times in life, God will wait to the last minute to bring an answer. So please do not lose faith if you are getting close to that last minute. It's gonna be okay. Something's gonna happen and He's gonna bring you out of it. Now remember, it might not be exactly to what we pictured it being, but it's definitely gonna be God bringing you out of that situation. So keep the faith, hang in there. Sometimes God works in his own timing, okay? We've got to remember that. So hope this helps. Hope you guys are doing all right, and I'll talk to you guys soon.